Think of a context window as the space in your LLM's short-term memory. It's the amount of text it can actively pay attention to at one time. Inside that space, every word is broken into tiny pieces called tokens, and the model processes them like puzzle fragments. The larger the window, the more of your conversation the model can hold in its mental spotlight without forgetting earlier parts. But there's also a token limit, which is like the maximum luggage weight for a flight. Go past it, and the model trims older messages or refuses the request. Engineers handle this using summarization, retrieval tricks like RAG, or by trimming unnecessary history. Interviewers often ask what happens when the limit is exceeded, and the strong answer is that the model discards older context to stay within its budget. A simple way to picture this is a camera frame, and the context window defines what's in the shot, and token limits define how long you can keep recording. Tokens are simply word pieces. A single word might become one token or several depending on complexity, but on average, 4 characters equal 1 token. When someone says 1,000 tokens, think roughly 750 words. This matters because your entire prompt plus your entire response must fit inside that token budget. It shapes how much the model remembers, how well it understands long discussions, and how deeply it can analyze a document. In interviews, a nice example is explaining that long emails or logs are often chunked, so the LLM can process them in stages. A helpful mental image is tearing a long sheet of paper into small squares, so the model can read each square quickly. Don't worry if this feels abstract now. It becomes intuitive once you work with longer conversations. The journey starts when you type your prompt. Everything you've said so far becomes part of the input text. The model then breaks your words into tokens, turning them into numerical patterns it can process. Next, it runs attention over these tokens, but only within the size of its context window, almost like scanning a roll of books where the shelf length is fixed. Finally, it generates a response, and those generated tokens also count toward your overall limit. A common interview follow-up is why outputs consume tokens too. The smooth answer is that generation uses the same token budget, so long outputs leave less room for long inputs. A simple analogy is sending and receiving messages on a prepaid plan. Both directions use data. Once you get this flow, prompt design becomes a lot easier. Different models have different token capacities, and this directly affects what they can handle. Early versions like GPT 3.5 offered around 4,000 tokens, which work for short chats. Standard GPT-4 moved to 8,000 tokens for moderate analysis. Extended variants jumped to 32,000, letting you process full research papers. Models like Claude pushed to 100,000 tokens, enabling full book-level reasoning. The key interview insight is that more tokens mean more computation. So models with huge windows cost more to run. Think of it like increasing the size of a whiteboard. A bigger board lets you map larger ideas, but it takes more effort to scan the whole thing. Knowing which model to choose becomes part of practical ML engineering. When you hit the token limit, the model trims older messages or throws an error. So engineers rely on summarization, sliding windows, and trunking to stay within bounds. Another common interview point is positional encodings. These help the model understand the order of tokens, almost like adding page numbers, so ideas stay in the right sequence. You might also be asked, why long context costs more? The reason is simple. Attention grows quadratically. So doubling the tokens creates far more computation. A helpful analogy is comparing conversations in a small room versus a stadium. More voices mean more relationships to track. If you ever face a follow-up about optimization, the clean answer is to remove redundancy, be precise with prompts, or lean on RAG when context grows too large. It's all about keeping the model focused on what truly matters. Great job learning today. If this helped you feel clearer or more confident for your AI or ML interviews, tap like so more learners can find you. If you want simple guidance for every interview topic, subscribe so you never miss the next lesson. You can share your questions in the comments. I read them, and they help me choose what to teach next. And if you know someone preparing for interviews, feel free to share this with them. Keep going. You're improving with every step. I'm here to help you grow.